Hey, good morning from, let's see, what is that word? Deja vu? Is that the word? It seems like I have been here this week, and we were here this week, Wednesday. Yeah, just seems like it was Wednesday. We were at Circuit World in Blue Ridge, and we're back this morning at Circuit World in Blue Ridge for our regular Friday morning show on the road. Now, we turned the setup around to put the camera the other way because last week the sun, and we're happy to see the sun coming through the window. I know you are this morning, and you're not driving to work in downpour raining. So the sun comes in this glass, so we had a lot of shadow. So, JR, are you back there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm concerned that JR is behind me this way, but we'll go with it anyway. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from beautiful downtown Blue Ridge, Georgia, North Georgia here, Circuit World Blue Ridge. I think we're going to start a new segment, Amanda, throughout the week, because the news this week, wow, I call it the spin cycle. That's it. I've already sent my attorney a note. You know, O'Reilly had the no spin zone. Okay, thank you, Bill. But I'm going to start a segment called the spin cycle. Oh, is that on a washing machine also? I don't know how they work. Do they have a spin cycle on the washing machine? Amanda, are you here today or not? Well, I mean, could you answer me when I ask you a question?
What did you say?
There you go.
Yes.
I hope you're paying attention out there. Amanda's not.
I'm just working away over here.
The spin cycle of news we've been through. We have an Oakland mayor that told the bad guys the police are on the way. I mean, right? We have an Oakland mayor that tipped off the bad guys, right? Said, hey, the police are on the way. You might want to get out of town or hide, or when they knock on the door, say nobody's home. We've had that this week. In Georgia, Amanda sent me a note this morning. In Georgia, we've had this week, am I correct, 13 threats, school threats. What do we have, Amanda?
We have in the areas in the last 13 days, we've had the counties with the threats are Gilmer, Pickens, Cherokee, Bartow, Fulton, Douglas, Carrollton, Clayton, Henry, DeKalb, Walton, Gwinnett, Banks, and Habersham.
This week, okay, 13 threats. We did a show here, and if you didn't get a chance to watch it, I just think it was an amazing show that we put together with superintendent of schools, law enforcement, and superintendent of schools. We put everybody together and asked questions about school safety. 13 threats this week. We have a teacher that went into the high school in Dalton and took his weapon in and fired it out the window this week. We've had the NRA attacks on the NRA, not NRA attacks. We've had vilified the NRA this week. Wow, we are going to have one action-packed all-star panel this morning with the spin cycle of news that has taken place throughout the day. We've had the President of the United States say, hey, take the guns first, due process later, and everybody got all upset. What all has happened this week? I mean, it's so hard to keep up with every bit of what's going on. Folks, don't worry about stock market, please. Just look for a nice weekend. Don't worry about the news saying the stock market's down 400 points because Donald Trump said he's going to put a 25% tariff on steel and I think a 10% on aluminum. Now, we don't have all morning to discuss trade deficits, okay? We don't have, but America, you have a president that everything about his presidency is America first, period, okay? No matter what the spin cycle is on the news, it's America first. For some of you, maybe some of the younger crowd in the audience this morning, to you, Bethlehem Steel is a casino. That's right. To me, I remember where Bethlehem Steel used to be. I remember it very well. I remember men and women that got up in the morning and went to work at Bethlehem Steel. But if you go to the Lehigh Valley in Pennsylvania, there's no Bethlehem Steel, folks. It's gone. It's a casino. That's true. Where Bethlehem Steel was at one time, it's a casino. Go out to Pittsburgh. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Ironically, they still have the helmets. I think they should change their name to the Pittsburgh Technological Center football team. Because there's no more Pittsburgh Steel for the most part, as we once knew it in this country in the history. It's gone. So we have the Steelers, but we have no steel. Go to Baltimore, Maryland. Instead of shooting everybody up in Dundalk, Maryland, which Dundalk is just a little suburb of Baltimore. It's a little section of Baltimore, downtown, inner city Baltimore. Instead of gang violence in Dundalk, Maryland, there used to be middle-class families that lived there that mom and dad, maybe mom did too, went to Sparrows Point and worked in the steel mill. Now, I don't mean to go on and on about that, but, you know, until you truly understand, and no disrespect, what it has meant to this country for the Chinese to dump foreign raw steel in this country, okay? Foreign raw aluminum, all right? You know, I'm of the generation that remembers that they took all of their scrap steel and sent us back the toys. Really? I mean, these cheap toys that we get from these China that's made out of dumped steel products. List goes on and on. Don't get nervous, folks. The president said he's going to protect, he's going to put a tariff in. I'm not telling you I am for tariffs. I am actually for free trade. But don't get all nervous with what the media is doing. I mean, the biggest concern I have this week is that Hope Hicks is not going to be in the White House. I know I got to look from Amanda if she hears that Hope Hicks will not be in the White House one more time from me, right?
Goodbye.
Goodbye. There you go. Parkland, what was the solution? What is the solution? Leave it up to politicians? I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from Circuit World. I really have looked at the news and thought to myself this morning, what do we talk about today? What do we focus in on? So I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna bring it down to Georgia. This past week, Delta Airlines, okay, sent out what I call, this past Saturday, it made the news all week. Delta Airlines sent out what I call the $40 million tweet. And we played it several times on the show this week, where they said they would no longer extend, okay, no longer extend benefits or discounts to NRA members. And what was missed in Lieutenant Governor Casey Cagle's comment and his tweet, what I think was actually missed there, is he was not singling out Delta as though, as like Delta singled out the NRA members. He was saying to Delta, look, my words, not the Lieutenant Governor Casey Cagle's words, but he's saying basically to Delta, look, if you want the extensions and the tax cuts that we're planning to put in place for Delta, the largest, okay, publicly traded private sector employer in the state of Georgia, if you want those tax breaks, don't target a segment. Now, my question is, if Delta would have came out this past week and said, we are no longer going to give a group discount to an organization that promotes the LGBTQ community. What would have happened? What if Delta would have come out this past Saturday and said, we are no longer going to extend discounts to, and enterprise car rental and all of those, we're no longer going to extend discounts to the National Dental Association of Orthodontists, blah, 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 throughout the United States. No longer. What would the outrage be? They picked a group and they put a target on a group of Americans. You see, out of 5 million NRA members, plus whatever the number is, I'd say the majority of those NRA members are just good law-abiding citizens. I would say the percentage in the group in the NRA membership is as high, law-abiding is as high as any group in the United States, if not higher. But yet they were singled out, NRA. So Casey Cagle, the lieutenant governor, yesterday a bill passed that tax break for jet fuel, which is being called the Delta jet fuel tax break. It's not really, it's all jet fuel. Anyone in Georgia that flies a jet gets that tax break on the jet fuel, but because the size of Delta, it's being called that. But yesterday, the state of Georgia passed the new tax legislation in Georgia for the people of Georgia. We'll get into that next week. And that tax break for Delta is stripped out, and all jet fuel, aviation jet fuel, is stripped out this morning. So Casey Cagle is, we're waiting right now. It's going to be either Monday or Tuesday, but Lieutenant Governor Casey Cagle will be a guest on the show Monday or Tuesday. They're confirming right now, the communications people. So Lieutenant Governor Casey Cagle will be on our show Monday or Tuesday. You know, due process, and I want to talk about this, all right? Due process is getting convoluted. Why do they not want to allow a qualified teacher to have? Why are liberals pushing so hard against a qualified teacher to have a firearm to shoot back to protect our children? Somebody really has to ask that question and get a real answer of why we allow the liberals to tell us banning an assault weapon, changing the age of eligibility, and tightening up a background check will protect our children versus return fire. Somebody has to answer that. I'm your host, BKP. We've got a lot. We got a lot to go over. We're going to get a lot of these things out and you heard the other day. Now, if you did not get a chance, okay, right here at this table, if you did not get a chance to watch our special, it is on YouTube, about school safety, because we had the superintendent of schools of Gilmer County, Dr. Shanna Wilkes, superintendent of schools of Fannin County, where we're at, Dr. Michael Gwatney, Fannin County Sheriff Dane Kirby, Gilmer County Sheriff Stacy Nicholson, and District Attorney B. Allison Sosby. That 2-hour special is on our website. And what did Sheriff Nicholson say? Every threat's serious now. There's no joke, no joking around. Kid puts something on Snapchat, it's not considered a joke, it's a serious threat. 13 this week alone in Georgia. I'm your host, BKP. As soon as we get back, we're going to have Dr. William Whaley in here. And then right after that, Ask the Doc. And then right after that will be All-Star Panel. Rick, Bruce, and Jane. Pet of the week. We got it all going on Fridays. Did I forget something? You're looking at me like I forgot something, so go for it.
We're not going to have a live pet of the week today, but we are going to put together a slideshow for the pet of the week.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought they were going to bring back Yogi.
Oh, no. Don't talk about Yogi.
Okay. I'm your host, BKP, Dr. Whaley, as soon as we return.